we're still waiting for about another 5 minutes. So get your coffee, get settled, and get ready to find out all of this great information from Project Quest, their story, their workforce, what they do in the community, how they help you as your business to make sure you can make a difference with employment opportunities and other wraparound services. Come on in. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everyone, as you're joining us. Good morning, everyone, as you're joining us. Taking a few minutes to let the others join us this morning for this webinar. Very excited to be able to welcome, on behalf of Bexar County Commissioners Court, and all of us here at Bexar County in our small business program, Project Quest this morning, to give you a detailed and some background information and how their organization can help you as a business with your employee needs. Numbers are steady climbing. Good morning. So we appreciate everybody being on time, and we like to reward those from being on time. So one more time, Sonia, give us your housekeeping, and then we're going to get started.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Housekeeping rules one more time. We are going to keep everybody muted throughout the presentation. We ask that you please drop any questions you may have in the chat box. We also ask that you please provide us with your contact information, as we will be recording today's session and emailing out that recording link as well as the PowerPoint slides. Okay, thank you.
We'll also be posting today's session on our website at bear.org and sharing it with Project Quest and their staff to follow immediately back up with you. So good morning. My name is Renee Watson. I'm the Director of Small Business and Entrepreneurship for Bexar County. And the webinar this morning, we're very honored to have with us two dynamic individuals that do incredible work throughout our community that represent Project Quest. If you're not familiar with Project Quest, you will be this morning, and you too will be proud of the work that they do because they're going to tell you their story. This morning's webinar is employers who are looking to hire. We are engaging on the different aspect of what they do. Normally, when you see Project Quest, we're talking about employees and they're doing outreach for folks to get jobs. We wanted to bring you the webinar this morning as a business owner, how you can sign up with them to help you to fill your employee needs. So the presenters this morning is Elizabeth Robinson, and she is the director, outstanding director of community partnerships, and the incredible dynamic James Cooper, who is the employer engagement specialist for Project Quest. They're going to be talking about the employer partnership agreements they have, what Project Quest does, their services to offer, also the wraparound services for individuals. And then as we go through the recovery, what are we doing in our community for workforce recovery and resiliency of your business? So I'm going to start, and we're going to take a lot of time this morning really listening to them, watching their PowerPoint. If you are on the phone and you're dialed in, again, we'll have the PowerPoint posted on our website at bear.org, and we'll make sure that that link gets there, and we can also email it to you. So with that, let's get started. Ellie?
Good morning. Thank you, Renee, for hosting us today. We're so excited to be with everyone. This is an important touch point, I think, in this moment, in this history and time. So we are happy to be of service. But I am the Director for Community Partnerships, and I'm joined by James Cooper, who's our Employer Engagement Specialist. And what we hope to share with you is a little bit about our model, how it works, and how we collaborate with individuals and agencies and companies like you all, like businesses like you all. So if you'll permit me, let me go ahead and get the slides started. I first want to start to mention to you that Project Quest does strengthen the economy and transforms lives. It is a very key component of our approach, that we transform lives by preparing individuals for in-demand living wage careers. And so we do try to be a leading agency. We work very hard. We've been around and founded back in 1992. So we've been around for 29 years. And our model has been tested and proven and studied pretty much by major agencies and independent studies. And it has been over and over found to be one of the nation's top programs. And so we're proud, to be able to share this with you. We are located at the Alamo Workforce Center for Excellence over on Quintana Road. So we are accessible to the community. We very much drive a participant-centered approach. So what that means is that every aspect of what we do and how we operate, how we approach, and how we actually provide our services, it's very much focused on the individual that goes through our program and eventually gets placed into jobs. In addition to that, I want to share with you, this is very key, how do we do it, right? A lot of people ask us, how is it that you do it? And so one of the things that is important is that this didn't just happen by chance. We were founded in the midst of the Kelly Air Force Base had just closed, Levi Strauss plant had just closed, and so our community found itself very distressed. Judge Nelson Wolf, who is now back then he was mayor, he actually, along with Charles Cheever from Broadway Bank, Mr. Tom Frost, the late Tom Frost from Frost Bank, and COPS Metro Alliance, which is a community-based organization that does advocacy and focuses on workforce development as well. They came together and they responded to a need that was present in our community. And so we initially started our approach to serve adults. We still are actually working with adults 18 plus, unemployed, underemployed, and underskilled. And we initially started in the healthcare industry, but we've expanded, and we'll talk a little bit, James and I will talk a little bit more about how we've expanded. But I think the takeaway from this slide, what I want you to remember is that we're with the participant. Our services are from the beginning to the very end into job placement and into job retention. So we actually stay with them the whole way. So it's not just what we're known for is, supporting them through wraparound services with as they go through their education and training program, but we ourselves are not the education and training agency. We collaborate with Alamo colleges, we collaborate with others, and I'll show you a slide, with some of those partners. And so what we have basically is a pipeline that we stay with the individual all the way through, and then I'll explain to you a little bit more about that. So what I'm referring to is Quest's nationally recognized wraparound service model leads to participant success. So we work with individuals throughout their education and training program on their skills, soft skills. So, whether it's time management, it's personal financial management, any area that there is a need, we basically work with them. So it's those life skills. Then, of course, we, provide the career and academic advising, that's critical. So our career coaches, are continually with them. And it's always, coaching, tutoring, anything that we can do to help them enhance their experience to make sure that they ultimately achieve success in their pursuit of their education and training programs. And then, of course, there's the support, the wraparound services when it comes to financial and crisis support. That's critical. So we're here to remove whatever barriers an individual might experience. Some common things that come up are, I'm not able to pay the light bill and they're going to disconnect it and I have a final. I mean, that's a real story. Job readiness and job placement, and that's, James' role, but that's a critical piece. This is when they're getting ready. So it's before they actually, graduate from the program, we are already preparing them for job readiness and job placement. And James will touch on that in a little bit. And then just to elaborate a little bit more, our career coaches are very accessible to our participants, and that's key to our success. where they meet with them either weekly or bi-weekly, and it's that one-to-one coaching that happens. It's that experience and that support system that an individual has that many times, you know, I think even when I went through my, you know, education experience, I know that I had mentors, you know, who did that for me. But this is definitely very critical and very key to someone's perseverance and someone's sense of initiative, and definitely to stay on that vision. So that's why we call it Vision, Initiative, and Perseverance, which is VIP. Those sessions continue on a bi-weekly basis throughout their duration of the program. And in addition to that, you know, it's like some of the things that they cover, the topics are goal setting, time management, stress management, communication, financial planning, employment readiness, like I mentioned a little bit ago. And then I mentioned that we are in demand careers in 3 main industries. And this is critical because we do follow the Texas Workforce Commission's list of in-demand industries. And so we eventually, in the last decade, we expanded into information technology and cybersecurity, knowing that that was an in-demand area. And we basically modified our model so that it would apply to that area in those industries. And then in addition to that, we've expanded and elaborated our own programming to include trades and advanced manufacturing. That is very key and relevant for us to have been able to grow in that way. And again, it's us, you know, ensuring that we are meeting those demands for those career pathways. And then what makes this unique in terms of the wraparound services? James, would you like to touch a little bit on this part?
Yes, absolutely. Good morning, everyone. And so to Ellie's point, right, when you think about Project Quest, think about flexibility and mobility as an organization. And so Ellie touched on our ability to really grow within the last 29 years of us as an organization. And so what you see here is literally the relationship that Project Quest has established, one with the state of Texas in terms of workforce and demand, but also the local community partners as well in terms of employer partners. And what you see is literally a list of 32 in-demand industries and occupations that Project Quest trains for. And then we also place those participants within those same career and job titles as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
And so it's very interesting. So I'm an employer engagement specialist, and I'm very unique in terms of the workforce industry. And so from front end to back end business, my job is really to communicate with David, Ellie, Lalani, Hugo, Ruby, our leadership, to really talk about what information our employer partners essentially telling me as a representative of Project Quest, and I feed that information directly back into our leadership so we can make sure that we're preparing our participants for in-demand jobs, career readiness, but also the future as well. So what you see right here is just core primary areas in terms of what we look to establish when we meet with an employer partner. The first thing that we really want to do is have a quarterly check-in, meet with you on a regular basis to really understand who you are as an organization, who you are as an employer partner, and really who you are to the community of San Antonio as a representative of the community. Meet and greet frequency, really just determining that. What does it look like from our standpoint? And the key thing is flexibility as well. We don't want to overwhelm you, and we want to make sure that we have a healthy relationship. So you as an organization determine when it's best to meet with Project Quest and communicate your needs. Project Quest really serves in a lot of different areas. We have many community partners. So when you talk about Hugo and Amanda on our sourcing team, they have great relationships within our community. San Antonio Food Bank is one, where you have individuals that come in, they need services. We'll reach out to them to really see what those services are, but then we'll also talk to them about workforce development and what it means to essentially be a part of Project Quest in terms of what services we provide. The next aspect is really when we talk about our employer partners. So once we develop a relationship, there is an expectation that at some point in time you will hire and work with us in terms of helping us staff and essentially provide talent acquisition to you from our standpoint. And then the big thing is providing advertising logos on our website. It helps us, it helps your business as well, because we go into spaces and talk to other employer partners. It really helps us to say, hey, we're working with this organization, and we can talk about our relationship based on the conversations that we have had with your organization in the past. And the last thing is really involvement in industry council. Since David Zabinola has been on our leadership, he's really forced us to take a deep dive on data to really look at things from our perspective, and we're able to really communicate those to employer partners because what ends up happening is that we speak to areas that we're seeing and other organizations are able to say, you know, that's an area or concern of ours as well, where we're having those exact same issues. So it really helps for us to come in and really talk to employers at these council meetings to really begin to talk about different aspects and perspectives of what we're seeing as a liaison between training partners, community, as well as employer partners.
Thank you, James. Go ahead.
And so here's an extensive look of an employer partner agreement. And so these are 9 points, but the most important thing is that we essentially develop our relationship with employer partners based on what you as an organization need. And we don't force our hand. The thing is that the most important thing for us is that we establish a strong relationship to make sure that people in the city of San Antonio are able to have jobs when they complete training in IT, healthcare, and manufacturing. So the first thing that we look at is really establishing demand for employment needs. And so when Ellie shared with you, working with the state of Texas, working with local employer partners, what are employment needs? And we can actually go in and look at potential job outlook to see, okay, I can say, hey, Lilani, my supervisor, this is what I'm seeing. More employers are talking about this specific niche, this specific training. Can we begin to identify a training partner that can help us begin to help staff these organizations or companies based on their need, right? Share applicable job opportunities, talk about job titles, the needs for jobs. Those things are very important to us because as we begin to source our participants, we look to see who we're recruiting for on the front end, but then also who we have in our pipeline, because Ellie talked about wraparound services. And I want to pivot here and just really talk about that because that's the focal point of who we are at Project Quest. Wraparound services starts from the point of participants, starts with Project Quest until 18 months after they're placed. And the reason why this point is important is because it helps with retention. So we're not just going to graduate a participant and then leave them at your doorsteps. We're actually going to walk with them through the first couple of months of their hire to assure that any barriers to a successful job placement are eliminated, to make sure that it's a healthy relationship between the community, the participant, as well as the community partner being that of the employer partner. Provide resumes to Quest participants, Quest participants to you as an employer. So this is kind of twofold. So we'll share with you on the type of experience our participants are having, but then also you can help us understand what type of areas or strengths are highlighted in our resumes or participants that really feed back into you as an organization as well, to really talk about the needs of your organization as you create job recs or job descriptions, so we can better help train our participants on what their resume should read and what they should say. Okay, hire full time. It's a huge thing for us, right? Our participants come in 200% below the poverty threshold, and we have to make sure that those individuals have applicable employment and they actually have growth within those jobs as well. So we want to make sure that they occupy full-time jobs and they have stability for themselves and their family, as well as the community of San Antonio. Big thing for us as well is listing you as an employee partner. And so literally, I promise you, since COVID has happened, we've had so many organizations come to us asking about our services, and it really helps to talk about the relationships we have with local employers as well as national employers. Now that a lot of the companies have went remote, they're looking to duplicate our models, replicate models with other companies that we have. And it's been a very successful process for us over the last 8 to 9 months inside of COVID. Quest training requirements that meet the needs of future job opportunities. So this is key as well. We look at IT. IT is a sector that's always evolving. It's evolving fast. When we meet with our employer partners, they're telling us, hey, these are new areas that we need. And once again, we communicate back to our leadership to talk about our training, to look to see, can we expand this training piece? And Ellie's going to show a slide later on that really talks about sometimes our training partners and employer partners are exactly the same, because the demand of the field and the evolution of technology or the area that they work in evolves so fast that they end up occupying 2 spaces for us as an organization. Okay. Once again, share applicable job opportunities with Project Quest. We don't expect that you hire all Project Quest participants, but we just want to make sure that we communicate and have open lines of communication so that when opportunities do arrive, that we can present you with some qualified candidates so you can be potentially interview, screen, and see if they're a good fit for your organization. Okay. And so yeah, then essentially that's everything for this slide right here, Ellie. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide.
Yeah, so I wanted to direct you so that if you are interested, or if you know someone who might be interested in actually registering for our program and learning more about our program, you can visit go.questsa.org and register on there for a Quest information session. That session is intended for those who might be interested in actually entering our program and going through it. We do provide tuition assistance. That's very critical, a critical component for many of the participants that go through our program. So I do want to point that out and offer that opportunity. And this is basically the list. It's not all of them, and we have like 50 plus partners, but this just highlights some of our partners that have been with us for some time. And essentially, to James' point, this is the critical component, right? I mean, for any agency collaborating with others and pulling together as a community to ensure that, you know, we meet the demands that are in front of us, this is how we do it. You know, it's very much integrating our partnerships, you know, with various agencies, and we have from referral partners to education training partners, and then of course the employer partners and community partners. And so that is the entire pool of partnerships that we have. James, do you want to add something to this?
No, Ellie, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. And just to give you an example of what I was stating earlier, right? You look at companies such as CodeUp, and you look at Dynamic Advancement, organizations that we've worked with in the past or developed relationships due to COVID. Dynamic Advancement is one community, one organization that we've literally developed a relationship inside of the COVID space because of the demand of need of people being trained up. So they come to us and present options to a customer service rep and then HR human resource specialist. The customer service rep is very interesting because now that a lot of companies are going remote, they're looking for individuals to have fine-tuned training in those areas. But then also on the back end, Dynamic Advancement also hires our participants as well. And so those are the established relationships that we have with our community partners. And I really wanted to highlight that. And you look at big names like University Health Systems, the Accenture, the models that we have with those organizations really help us talk to next employer partners. And even as a small business, I would not discourage you, please do not allow the big names to discourage you, right? We work with from small small businesses all the way up into large scale businesses. Our relationship is really scaled to what the employer partner needs. It does not matter the size of the organization. Thanks,
right.
Ellie.
And I think Belden is a great example, don't you think, James, where we customized a program with them for the Belden Academy. You want to talk about that real quick, just as an example?
Yeah, it's a very interesting partnership. Thank you, Ellie. And so on the manufacturing side, Ellie talked about our area, our ability to really scale up in manufacturing. And so when you look at trades, building, roofing is it's a mainstay in the city of San Antonio. But when it comes down to identifying entry-level positions in terms of staffing, there's in terms of some assistance that we provided to them. So we helped with the sourcing in. We talked about the job opportunities they needed. We went to our community partners directly and began to advertise and talk directly about those opportunities. We brought them into training. And the very most interesting thing about building roofing is that Belden actually paid for the participants to be paid during the training. And that was probably one of the most unique relationships that we have, where an employer is going to help us with the training of those individuals, but while they're in training, they pay them as well. That's been a great resource for us as an organization, and that's a model that we hope to replicate in the near future.
Right. We do have a very rigorous application process, and that's intended to really, because of the resources that are really put into our hands, and we're trying to steward them correctly and wisely. We do have a rigorous recruitment process, and so that assessment process allows us to see, you know, which pathway would be the best match for them, which career pathway. So I think that's, you know, what helps us and makes us different as well. In addition to that, I want to point out, you know, this 2020 and 2021, I mean, this is a very unique time in our history. And like I mentioned to you earlier, when we were founded in 1992, we essentially were responding to a dire need for reskilling and upskilling individuals. And now we find ourselves in a very similar situation with slowly reopening our economy. You know, we're able to, you know, be more at ease, but at the same time, there are still individuals out there, you know, who are still trying to figure out next steps in their lives. I want to point out the partnership we have with Bexar County, which is the Bexar Strong Workforce Resiliency Program, and also the City of San Antonio's Train for Jobs SA program. These two are the recovery and resiliency efforts. We do provide stipends while they're going through our program. There are different tracks, so I can give an amount, but of course that's just an average would be like about $450 a week. James, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's correct. And so it can range depending if you're in a 12-week program or whether you're short-term or long-term. So there are different variations of that amount. But what I'm basically just trying to make available is for those, who might be interested. Again, this is an opportunity, and these programs were made possible by Bexar County and the City of San Antonio. In addition to that, I just want to point out and give a shout out to our team. The Workforce Recovery and Resiliency efforts have been definitely life-changing for us as a team, for our organization, as we have undergone a lot of infrastructure changes in order to be able to meet the demands that were in front of us, or that are in front of us. And so we have been out in the community this entire time, whether it's through food bank mass distributions, special events, any touch point that we can get. We've been at churches, we've been everywhere, so that we're able to make that touch point with individuals who might be able to benefit from our services. And on top of that, we've been doing digital marketing, which has been very, very successful and has drawn many individuals into our pipeline. But I just want to point that out. James, do you want to mention anything here?
No, everything is good, Ellie.
And then just if you have questions, please, start putting them into the chat box if you haven't, and we will get to them soon. I just want to point out, when it comes down to the return on investment, we are always asked about what is the return on investment for, the resources that are allocated, to Project Quest and awarded to Project Quest. And so this is a study. It was a 25-year study for our 25th anniversary of Quest's economic impact. And so as you can see by the numbers, you start to see how, we have made a substantial which is the 1.67 billion over the 25 years of our existence, when we celebrated our 25th anniversary, and that's $19.32 per funded dollar return into the community. And so what does that mean, right? Let's break it down. So what that means is that the individuals who go through our program, many go from a very low wage, and suddenly they're making a livable, living wage, right? Where they're able to buy a car, they're able to buy a house, they're able to reinvest into the community. And so that becomes a prospering scenario. And that is really the purpose, is to be able to help our community prosper. I mean, when one prospers, we all prosper. And then we have been studied, as I mentioned early on, we have had some rigorous independent studies. So Project Quest, is a proven model. We have been in constant contact this past 12 months with other national agencies who are trying to learn from our model. We don't claim to know everything, and we don't claim to be perfect either. We are growing, we are changing, we are evolving, especially to meet the demands of the times. But we know that we are doing something right, and our model does work, and it's effective, and that's been proven. So the economic mobility study that came out in April of 2019, what that basically showed, just to draw your attention, that program graduates moved out of poverty and into the middle class, earning an average of $46,580. Many were coming in and they were at like $9,000 or $12,000 a year. So you're talking about a whole transformative life experience. Participants over the age of 34, they also saw a benefit. So it's generational. You're breaking generational poverty, and so now the children's also benefit. We've had actually multiple generations go to Project Quest. And then just to, give kudos, the New York Times gave some coverage to San Antonio, and this was right before the pandemic in 2019. Job training can change lives. See how San Antonio does it. And this is an article that was put out there. And Paul Osterman, he's quoted in there, and he says, it is scalable, and there is no reason every city and town in America can't have something like it. It's not just about training people. This provides real support for people involved. And this is true. I mean, we've seen this over and over, and there's nothing more gratifying than graduation of our participants and listening to their testimonies and hearing how their lives have changed. And then this is San Antonio Express News, gave us some coverage also. Quest helping break generational poverty. And former Mayor Ivy Taylor does say Project Quest is a valuable partner in developing a workforce pipeline, connecting participants with better job opportunities and helping the city's economic future and global competitiveness. And then recently, most recently, this was just, I believe it was last month, Brookings Institute, they're a distinguished institute, if you're familiar with them. They actually named us one of the top agencies in the nation based on the studies and based on their own research. So we were happy to receive that level of kudos. With that comes a great sense of responsibility. So we continue to be available. We constantly are making presentations to other agencies about how we do it and what our model is. You know, we don't want to be the best kept secret. We want people to be able to duplicate it throughout the country. We do have others. We have 5 sister organizations in the state of Texas. So they are their own independent 501c3s. And then we have been replicated also in 3 other states. So I think that's amazing. And then once again, just for those who might be interested in actually registering for one of our Quest information sessions, please visit go.questsa.org and you can get more information, learn more about our programs, and you can start the process and just learn a little bit more about who Project Quest is and what we offer.
Hey Ellie, we had 2 questions inside of the chat that I wanted to respond to.
Okay, let me
Ellie, can you hear me pretty good?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the first question was asked, and so let me make sure I have the correct name of who asked. Stacy Bean asked, how does the program work for the employer, right? Are we looking to hire individuals in a training program hosted by Project Quest? Are you looking for employers to provide the training, right? So Project Quest is looking for employers to hire individuals. Right, that's the main focal point in terms of why we're communicating with you. So Stacey, it comes down to really what type of jobs or opportunities exist with your organization, and then literally us seeing if we have a fit within our participants to help place those participants. So we'll look at our resumes, look at our training programs, and identify what's the best match for you as an organization, and then we'll pass those resumes on. So the second part of your question, in the event that we establish a relationship with you or as an employer partner, if you have the ability to train, you have a curriculum and there's a need in the community, we can work with you as a training partner as well. But right now, our focal point right now is to really just to understand the talent acquisition's needs of you as an employer. Okay.
That's a really great question. Anything else, James, that we have?
Yeah, so there was a second question as well. The second question came from Prue. And so the question was, I think it was Prue. Yes. Are there barriers for ex-offenders in getting training after they're released? There are no barriers for ex-offenders to get training after they're released. No, we don't have any barriers.
Another good question.
I see one more.
Other questions? Go ahead.
Yes. Vanessa is asking, does Project Quest only train those individuals in the 3 demand areas that were presented?
Those are the 3 areas that we are focused on. I can go back to the different career pathways. James, you want to try answering and I'll go back to that slide?
No, yeah, that's absolutely correct. So as of right now, Ellie stated that we only train for programs that operate in a Texas labor and demand sector. So if an area does not exist in that area, we typically do not train. There are opportunities, right? That the list is expansive. So we can actually, there's an area or occupation that could be listed. Well, let me take that back. The 32 that are listed, the list in the state of Texas in terms of labor demand is expansive. So there are opportunities for us to expand that list, which is Ellie's point earlier, while we picked up healthcare and IT. If you could share in the chat, what training or job are you looking to establish training for?
And I want to add, so this is real-time evolution, right, of our program. So we just entered into a partnership, and you're hearing it for the first time, with UTSA. And so we are offering artificial intelligence and a couple of other areas, right, James? And that is just fairly new. So you want to touch on that, James?
Yeah, so thank you for that, Ellie. So there's a great space growing for machine learning, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and we are literally working with new employer partners right now. With new training partners to really look at the in-demand, the area that's best fit for us as an organization. So to Ellie's point, if there's an area that you see as a need as an employer, you can meet with myself, meet with Ellie, and we can present that to our leadership and do our research to really see if it's an area that we can support. But we are expanding that list right now. To Ellie's point, we are looking at machine learning as well as artificial intelligence right now.
Yeah, so I think that's just, part of the model itself, is evolving. And I think, it's good to hear from us, that it's real time and it's happening right now. And we just continue to be open. So we don't want to, we don't want to make it seem like, this is it and there will never be anything else added, because we are an evolving society and our economy continues to open up and new opportunities open up as well. Any other questions, Sonia?
I have one more question come in from H. Collins. Is there a cost to the company by partnering with Project Quest?
No, that is the most beautiful thing. We do not operate as a placement agency, so we do not expect revenue or money on the back end. The only thing that we ask of you is that you all bring participants in at a livable wage. We do ask for benefits, so those are things that we discuss, but we do not ask for compensation as an organization from employers, no.
Yes, and I think I can speak to the fact that as a 501c3 and that falls on my department, we're continually raising external funds, donations, grants, and so forth, so that we're able to provide these services, and that makes it a very unique partnership. Sonia?
Thank you. Thank you, Ellie and James, for that great presentation. Okay, I did have one more question just come in from Zarnay. Apologize if I'm mispronouncing that name. If we have workers already, can they be trained via your programs?
James, you want to take that one?
Yes. So the answer is yes. It's a very interesting area though, right? Because so per our contract, right, we have to present a promotion. So we can, but if we train up an individual and they occupy the exact same job with no increase in salary, then essentially we're not servicing that participant. So we really have to really work with you as an organization to really see if we're training someone up, will they be available to receive a promotion at the next level? And when we say a promotion, increase in pay, not just job title. So it's a very fine line, but the opportunity does exist.
We did have a follow-up question from Stacy. So are all your employee participants entry level?
Yes, mostly, yes. Yes, so the answer is yes.
Okay, I do not see any more questions in the chat box. I do want to give all the attendees another opportunity. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box. We do have a little bit of time left. If you all want to use the raise hand feature, we can unmute you so that you'll be able to ask your question in live time if you'd like. Okay, I see Stacy raised her hand. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak live and ask the question, because I think I understand the program as a whole and the value to those that are participating and seeking employment. But as an employer, I'm not so clear that I understand the benefit to the employer and participating in the program. And that's the reasoning for the series of questions I've asked thus far. So is the benefit to me that I'm just supporting an organization that's doing a really good thing by helping to train people that are in need and looking to advance in some capacity? Or is there another benefit to me outside of working with you without a cost, if I'm not mistaken? But is there another benefit to working with your organization aside from what I've mentioned thus far?
No, and Stacy, that is a great question, right? And so let me answer this directly, right? So think of your talent acquisition needs as a company.
Issues
right?
with that curriculum, it keeps popping.
think of your talent acquisition needs as a company. So in terms of working with us, Project Quest is more of a service to the city of San Antonio. The service that we provide directly to you as an employer is to really help you close the gap on your talent acquisition needs, to meet with you one-on-one, to understand your needs, to see if we can help you identify strong candidates for your talent acquisition needs. That would be the partnership as a business owner with Project Quest.
Okay, I see. Okay, very good. Thank you.
I don't see any more questions in the chat box, and I don't see anybody else wanting to raise their hand. Ellie, James, thank you so much for that great presentation. Do y'all have any upcoming events or presentations that you'd like to share with all of our participants today?
I think just to mention that the Quest information sessions are on a weekly basis. They're on a regular basis. And so, you know, individuals who are interested in signing up for the program and learning more, we encourage them again to go to go.questsa.org.
Thank you. And I just wanted to remind everybody that this session was recorded. We will be providing the link to everybody who attended, as well as the slide decks. We'll also have them posted on our website by the end of the day tomorrow. I also want to invite all of our attendees to attend an upcoming training we have next Wednesday on our Bexar County contract diversity management system. I apologize. It will be next Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Our very own James Massey will go over our CDMS portal, and he'll be joined by Aaron Andrade from our purchasing department, who will go over our Enforced Supplier portal. If y'all can please, once again, provide your contact information in the chat box. We'll be emailing everybody the slide decks as well as the PowerPoint link. Thank you, everyone.